Our most reverential and humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Lord, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Dearest Swami, we offer today's enrichment session at your divine lotus feet, and we thank you for this blessed opportunity given to SSC teachers from all over Australia to come together and share their passion and dedication for Sai Spiritual Education.
We pray that today's session energizes and enriches all of us. Swami, may we experience not only stimulating and enriching exchange of ideas, but also renewal of love and enthusiasm for your divine work. We pray that you give us the wisdom and knowledge as we take your divine teachings to your beloved children.
Loving Om Sai Ram, dear SSC teachers and education coordinators, it gives us great pleasure to warmly welcome you all to our very first National Teacher Enrichment program entitled Unity is Divinity, Purity is Enlightenment. I am Surabhini Rajendran, National Education Coordinator.
And I am Durga Sivarajasingam, Deputy National Education Coordinator. And we are joined by a very special guest. We are blessed to have Auntie Geetha Mohanram join us from the US. Auntie Geetha is a very familiar figure in the Sai fraternity and has had a rich association with the SSE program over many years. We are very excited to have her here with us.
At the Balvikas conference held in 1979, Swami said, "We have been working as Balvikas gurus for years, but what is the result? These questions should be asked in the conference, and changes and additions have to be made in our working. The gurus should also discuss in groups amongst themselves, put down their own experiences, and see what changes have to be made and take necessary steps. We should also discuss what path will enable us to give prosperity to the children and the country."
This morning, together, we will reminisce on this golden opportunity given to us to serve in His mission, be inspired by Auntie Geetha, and be charged with Swami's divine energy for even greater commitment to personal sadhana through Sai Spiritual Education. It is now our honor and privilege to introduce to you the exceptionally inspiring Auntie Geetha Mohanram.
Auntie Geetha comes from a family of devotees that has been in Swami's service for more than 6 decades. Her granduncle, Sheshagiri Rao, was Swami's personal attendant for more than 20 years. He was also the first priest at Prashanthi Nilayam when it was built in 1950. Her father, Dr. Padmanabhan, a renowned dental surgeon, was very dear to Swami and served him till 2008. Many of you might recognize him as the person who walks behind Swami during darshans in Whitefield, Vrindavan.
Auntie Geetha, who was named by Swami, has had the incredible fortune of enjoying and experiencing the multifaceted personality of our Divine Lord from birth. Swami graced her home in Bangalore with his presence regularly, and all her holidays and festivals were spent with him in Puttaparthi.
In the late 1960s, when Swami initiated the Balvikas program, Swami asked a group of women devotees in Bangalore, India, to gather children from the neighborhood and tell them mythological stories, and also explain the underlying spiritual meaning of these stories. One of the women chosen was Auntie Geetha's mother, Mrs Kamala Padmanabhan.
In 1969, Auntie Geetha's mother began a Balvikas class in her own home, and her daughter Geetha was one of her first students. 2 years later, in 1971, Swami appointed Mrs. Kamala Padmanabhan to be the first Karnataka State Balvikas coordinator. But who will teach my Balvikas class, Swami? I have about 15 to 20 children in the class, she asked. Why? Swami said. You have a teacher right here, pointing to Auntie Geetha. So, at the age of 14, Auntie Geetha became a Balvikas guru for a group of 20 children, a role she fulfilled for many more years.
Over the next couple of years, as Swami formalized the Balvikas curriculum for various age groups, he appointed Dr. V.K. Gokak and Mrs. Shanta Divahar to lead this effort, and Auntie Geetha to be the scribe to record by hand the direct guidance and instructions he provided.
In 1973, when Swami directed the development of the Education in Human Values program, he appointed Auntie Geetha as one of the trainers of the EHV program, and in this capacity, Auntie Geetha travelled with other trainers to train school teachers in Karnataka to bring education in human values into the statewide school system. She did this while she was still a high school student. Over a period of 8 years, the trainers conducted more than 50 training camps for Balvikas gurus and school teachers.
At Swami's direction, Auntie Geetha spoke at the first Balvikas Gurus Conference in Bangalore in 1976 and continued to teach generations of Balvikas students until 1986, when she and her family emigrated to the US. She continued to serve in Swami's vision of imparting values to children in the United States.
In November 2005, on the occasion of Ladies' Day, during Swami's 80th birthday celebrations, she was chosen by Swami to address the distinguished gathering in his divine presence at Prashanti Nilayam and was the keynote speaker at the SSE World Conference held in 2015. Auntie Geetha has a degree in early childhood education and has taught kindergarten for many years in the US and was awarded Best Teacher of the Year for 5 consecutive years. Her teaching and classroom environment were firmly based on the principles of EHV, and she was often asked to educate parents about this program.
In 1996, at Swami's command, she began speaking publicly of the Avatar's glory and her interactions with him, and soon found herself being invited all over the world. Auntie Geetha has spoken to large audiences, but always makes time to speak especially with office bearers, SSC teachers, parents, and children to impart the knowledge and experience gained in Swami's divine presence. It now gives us great pleasure to welcome Auntie Geetha to address us this morning. Over to you and loving Sai Ram, Auntie Geetha.
Sai Ram, and good evening from the United States of America. To all the good friends in Australia, Sai Ram, brothers and sisters. It is really nice to talk to gurus, the SSC gurus over there. I have been to Australia. Remember the wonderful hospitality I received from all of you, especially Sister Anjana. And now, you know, with the changing times, we are all brought together again through these Zoom calls and through remote friendship like this. So, Sai Ram, and I hope you all have a wonderful enrichment program which you will continue. For me, it is Saturday evening. You're all bright and early on a Sunday morning, I'm sure, looking forward to your training program. I do want to thank you, Srubini and Durga, both of them, for getting in touch with me and going through the whole process with me. Sai Ram to the both of you as well. I'm sure it has been a lot of hard work to get together this program with so many people all over the country as well as across the ocean with me. Sai Ram again. Thank you for your kind introduction. Yes, I have been in this SSC program a long time, probably long before many of you were even born and started to go to school. And as Sister Durga and Sarubini said, I was chosen accidentally, so to speak, if there is such a thing with Swami, to do this SSC program. So today I thought I will kind of give you a little bit of the background of how the whole program started and what Swami really had, what kind of a vision that Swami had for the future of this world. First of all, starting of course in India, in the state of Karnataka first, in the city of Bangalore first, and then going from there, now it has spread all over the world in the form of SSC programs within the Sai centers and education and human values outside of the Sai centers, and so many schools and other institutions also now sharing Swami's teachings to so many children all over the world. It was unimaginable in 1970 or 69, I must say, 68 and 69, when Swami called a few ladies who were generally chatting, so to speak, in Bangalore, in Vrindavan. Swami used to spend a lot of time in Vrindavan in those days, almost till mid-80s, because at that time, the university, the college, he had started the college in Bangalore, the boys' college in Bangalore, and he used to spend a lot of time in Bangalore with the setup and everything. But this was even before the college. He just called, the Sai centers had started bhajans at that time, but it had not become very official at that point. When all of these ladies one evening were sitting outside in Vrindavan and just chatting with each other while they waited for Swami to send the men out. My father was inside talking to Swami. Some of the ladies, their husbands, were all talking to Swami about various organizational matters. The organization was still in the very early stages of its inception. So they were all chatting, and all the ladies, including me, I was a kid, we were sitting there and talking when Swami suddenly came out of the building, the old bungalow in Vrindavan. And this was after all the people had left for darshan. As soon as Swami's darshan was over, people would leave because they had to take the village rural buses to get back into the city of Bangalore. In those days, it was not, even though the city was only about 26 kilometers from Vrindavan, it would take quite some time to get a hold of. There were no regular bus service, so people would just rush out of Vrindavan gates to catch hold of buses to go back into the city. So it was a very quiet atmosphere. I'm sure many of you would have seen pictures of the old Vrindavan with lots of trees, and the ladies were just sitting and chatting when Swami suddenly came out of the gate after everybody had left and called these few ladies who were chatting and said, you know, all of you, some of them were teachers, educationalists. He said, some of you are teachers, some of you are housewives. Why don't you start gathering some children in your neighborhood and start telling them stories, teaching them some prayers, and start awakening the children towards something much more deeper than what this secular education is now giving everybody in this world. All that the secular education is doing is for the children to grow up, learn how to earn money, buy a house, get food, feed their families, and look after their worldly life. Even the birds and animals are doing. The birds know how to build a nest. The birds know how to bring food for their little baby birds. Even they are doing that. Human beings are born for much more than this. So why don't you start small classes within your neighborhoods? So these were all ladies, some of them not very highly qualified or educated in any way, but they were all good devotees of Swami. And when Swami said, Swami, how should we do it? What should we do? Swami said, just talk to the neighbors, gather some of the children and start telling them stories. In the beginning, Swami gave this responsibility mainly to women because he said women have the natural instinct, the nurturing instinct. They can start. They're good storytellers because many of them are mothers. They know how to tell stories to their own children. So you can start with that. So my mother just talked to the few neighbors that we had. All of the children whom she gathered were all my friends or their younger siblings. And she started a small class in the south of Bangalore. In the same way, the other teachers in other areas of Bangalore started to do this class. And Swami every weekend would ask, how is your class going? What are you teaching? And he would suggest stories. He would suggest prayers to be taught at that time. He would say, try to teach the children with a lot of love. And these were a mixed group of children who were not children of devotees. In those days, in the early 70s, late 60s, there were still not so many devotees. So they were all just neighborhood children, but who all came from families which were generally pious and who were traditional. So they would come. So my mother started to do, and this went on for about a year or so, till about 1970. By that time, the first world, second world conference had, a national conference had happened in Mumbai. And Swami, who used to visit our home quite often, came to our house one evening for dinner. And at that time, he brought Professor Gokok and Mrs. Divakar. These were all educationists. Dr. Gokok was the Vice Chancellor of the Bangalore University. Mrs. Divakar was a principal of a college, a very well-known educationalist of those days in Bangalore. And he had told them to come to our house too for that dinner. And during that time, Swami was discussing how to make this Balvikas, as he called it, and as it is called in India even now, how to make this program a much more widespread program so all children could benefit. And at that time, he told my mother, at that time, the organization had just started, the coordinators had just been picked. It was all very new and still settling down, including the Sai centers. He told my mother, Kamalama, my mother's name was Kamala, you become the Balvikas coordinator for the state of Karnataka. And you go to each and every small town that is around Bangalore city in the state of Karnataka, all over the state, and try to recruit ladies, housewives, in the Sai, there were small Sai centers in these places. Ask them to start teaching SSC or Balvikas classes. In those days, the ladies were all quite confined to the homes. There were not so many working women, and they did not come out of the house to do all this teaching and everything. So Swami gave the job of first meeting the husbands, the men in those Sai centers, and convince the men first to send the ladies and to start these classes. So this was a huge task. It was the very beginning of the Sai centers. There were no Balvikas classes. In fact, even the centers were very new. There was no particular format in which the centers operated. And at that time, my mother became the Balvikas coordinator for the state of Karnataka. And actually, Shri Professor Kasturi, you all know Professor Kasturi Garu, he became the first state coordinator, or the state president, as he was called, as they are called in India. He became the state president, the first state president. And there was one more lady, Mrs. Manikyamma, she became the Seva coordinator. So these three people started to travel to the remote parts of Karnataka state to encourage the centers, to do Seva activities, to conduct devotional singing, and also to start SSC programs. So when Swami was telling all of these things to my mother in our house, my mother said, Swami, but I have already started the Balvikas. The Balvikas class still didn't even have a name at that point. Swami had first started to say, maybe we will call it Balavihar. And then he changed it to Balvikas. So Swami, the classes, I started the children's classes. There was no training, no enrichment programs like this. There were no teachers. Who will take care of my class? I have about 30 children, all of mixed age groups, starting from age 5 all the way up to 16. And the class was all together at that time. Still the division of group 1, group 2, group 3 was not there. She used to conduct the class for this mixed group. Who will take care? So Swami just pointed to me and said, you have a teacher right here. She will take care of the class. You go all over the state. So I looked this way and that way. I thought it was my older cousin sitting behind me. And Swami said, why are you looking here and there? I'm talking to you. You become the teacher. So I was just 14 years old. And the children in the class were all my friends. So I said, Swami, all the children are my friends. I don't know what I can teach. I said to Swami. So he said, why? Since the day of your birth, you have been listening to me tell you stories. You have to tell stories. Since the day you have born, you have been listening to bhajans. You have to teach bhajans. Since the day you were born, you have grown up listening to all kinds of prayers. You have to teach prayers. So what is so difficult to do that? To do it. So then I said, Swami, these children are all my own friends, Swami. Nobody will listen to me if I say I'm a teacher. At that time, I think that was the first guidance that Swami gave me, how I should be as a teacher. He said, this world is a big drama. Everybody plays a role. You are playing the role of a child now. When you go into the class, become a teacher. Start playing that role. You have to dress appropriately for that job, study appropriately and prepare yourself for that job. And when you go there and sit on the other side of the line, you become a teacher and they will become your students. At that time, friendship has to be kept away because you're playing another role. Just like in a drama, when you take on the role of the hero or the heroine, you have to change your clothes and your makeup and your dress and start thinking like that character. So you have to think like that. So that was the first guidance that Swami gave me, how to become a teacher. You have to start playing that role. So with great trepidation, I took up. I was still a young teenager. I myself was going to school. I used to have a lot of homework. But Swami said, you do the class. Amma, mother, will go all over the state and try to get more teachers to start doing this. So I started this class, or took over my mother's class. It was a mixed class. I had a few friends who were helpful, but they would all in the beginning think that what do you know that you can tell us? But whenever I used to go to Vrindavan, I would say, Swami, they are all saying, what do I know? What do I know? How to teach them? So then Swami gave me the second guidance. He said, you have to prepare. You cannot just go and sit in the class and try to teach something that you want to teach when you go there. You have to prepare. So start preparing. If you have any questions, of course, I was very fortunate. Swami, my own Balvikas Guru, was right there in Vrindavan. If you have questions, you come and ask me. I will tell you. So I started at the age of 14 and a half, 15, I started to teach Balvikas. It was really tough, but I learned many things as I went along. And one of the other things that Swami said, that as soon as you teach, don't expect results the next day. It is not like going and taking your examination in school. You study all night long, you go and write the answers, whichever you have mugged up in your head, and you write the answers in the answer paper, and 1 week later you get 80% or 90% marks. This is not like this. This is spiritual education. You have to be slow and steady, and the result of that will be seen down the road. So as you teach, you yourself also have to become a student. You have to start learning yourself. You have to start changing the way you think, changing your way you talk, changing the way you dress. So you have to start becoming what you want to tell the students. So it was a journey. It was not easy. And I started to slowly try to change myself. I made, I'm sure, many mistakes. And that is how the Balvikas program for me, it started. My mother went and started all over Karnataka. She went and talked to the men in the Sai Samitis or the Sai centers, convinced the ladies, would have the ladies meeting. And of course, along with her, the biggest support that came along with her was also Professor Kasturi, who everybody loved and respected. And he himself was a wonderful speaker. So he would also talk to everybody and said, come, bring your children first. Bring your own children first. Then you start doing it. And so slowly the program started and it went on for a while like this, 71, 72, 73. It went on around 72 or 73. The first Education in Human Values program was also launched. Because at that time, the education minister of the state of Karnataka was a lady called Nagamma Keshavmurthy. She was an ardent devotee of Swami. And whenever she saw the Balvikas children, at that time, small groups of children, the teachers started to bring to Brindavan as the few weeks went by and as the classes started to pick up. She would come regularly to Brindavan and she would see, and Swami would talk to her and tell her, because she was the Minister for Education, and she was very excited to start this program in the government schools in Karnataka. She requested Swami, I want to start it as a mandatory program for the government schools. But the teachers are not devotees. The students are not devotees. How can we do this beautiful education, this Sai Spiritual Education, in a way that is palatable to the people who are not devotees, neither the teachers nor the students? So at that time, Swami started the Education in Human Values. So he said, it does not matter about speaking about me to non-devotees. You can start teaching the 5 values and all the other sub-values and spiritual education to these children. So he created a small group of trainers from the Balvikas teachers who had started to teach from 1970. They all had 3 or 4 years of experience, and he gathered together this group of 8 or 12 teachers, I think 12 to 14 teachers, and started the Education in Human Values program, where we all went and started to train government school teachers. So I'm sure some of you have heard my talks before, but I want to speak of this experience of mine again, only because there was so much of learning for me. And as teachers, how our own behavior and the way we go about our life impacts the children. So the first and the foremost thing that Swami used to say, that if you are an SSC teacher, then at all times you have to be aware of what you're doing. What Swami says, all the time being aware, constantly being aware of everything that you do and think and say. I was still young. By this time, I was 16 years, 17 years old. And when they created this group, a lady, Mrs. Kalyani Sundaram, was made in charge of the Education in Human Values program. She was a wonderful lady. And she was supposed to start gathering some teachers who could go and speak to the government school teachers. Remember, they are not devotees. The children are not devotees. So when she made that list, she did not add my name to that list because she felt I was too young. I was only 17 years old. And she did not feel that the government school teachers would listen to somebody of my age talking about Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema and all these kinds of things. So she did not add my name. She took the list to Swami to get his approval. And when Swami looked at the list, he said, you have missed out your oldest teacher. So she said, no, Swami, I think I've taken all the ones who have been teaching now for 1 or 2 years. He said, no, you have missed out the oldest teacher. Padmanabh's daughter, Kamlamma's daughter, Geetha Ma, she is the first teacher in Karnataka state. She started to teach when she was 14. She's your oldest teacher. Why don't you have her name? So she said, no, Swami, she's only 17 years old. I don't know if the government school teachers will listen to what she has to say. Swami said, wife, when older people see younger people being so excited and enthusiastic about spiritual education. This is the type of education, spiritual education, that gives you a knowledge of all things. It is not like secular knowledge where you learn biology, you get the knowledge of biology, you learn physics, you do medicine, you do engineering, you get knowledge in that field. But Adhyatma Vidya, this spiritual knowledge, is the knowledge of all knowledge. If you get that, you have the knowledge for everything. So when they see such young people teaching, even the teachers will be enthusiastic. You should take her, he said. So Kalyani auntie, she called me in the evening. I had come home from school and I got a phone call. My mother had picked up and she said, you know, she explained to my mother what Swami had said. And I think she was a very sweet person. She was very fond of me. Her reluctance to add me was only my age. So she called, but she couldn't do anything since Swami had said. So she called me and said, Geetha, Swami has asked me to put you in this Education and Human Values program. So please come tomorrow to Vrindavan. Not tomorrow, this was on a Thursday evening. So she said, you come on the weekend to Vrindavan. All the other ladies are also coming. And Swami is going to speak to us. You please come. So she told me all this. I was very, very shocked about it. I put the phone down and I bitterly complained to my mother. I said, oh, I don't want to be a part of this program. It is hard enough preparing for the SSC program. I don't want to start preparing for education in human values where we can't even tell Swami's name to some government school teachers who are all older and all of those. I don't want to be in this program. I complained to my mother. My mother said, I cannot do anything. Swami has asked you to stay. If you have a complaint, you take it to Swami. So I was 100% sure that I did not want to serve. The reason I'm giving you this long story is, I'm sure many of you gurus sometimes wonder, I have accepted to do this job as a guru, as a teacher, but maybe I don't have the qualifications. Maybe I don't have the qualities. Maybe I cannot be a good enough teacher. Or maybe I don't even want to spend so much time on this, which was in some ways my case. You know, when you're young, you think you know everything, but you don't want to spend so much time on something that you're not interested in. So this was my state. So I went to Vrindavan the next day with the intention of asking Swami that I did not want to serve in this program. But how can I tell Swami that I don't want to serve him? So I thought up a few good excuses. I said, Swami, I have college, I have a lot of homework, and also these programs are Monday to Friday. So I have my own college and school and classes to do. So I cannot go to these programs because I have to go to school. And so I won't be able to do this program because of my college. I have to. And also these teachers are going to different places in the state of Karnataka. I won't be able to travel and take time off from school to do this. This is what I had planned to tell. So many ways, sisters who are all and brothers who are listening, many of these things we must understand that there is a higher energy that is controlling all our lives. We think we are in control, but he is the puppeteer and we are just the puppets. He will make us do exactly what he wants us to do, however much we think we don't want to do it. This is what I learned. So I went there and I was sitting in the darshan line and Swami came out for darshan, and as he walked, he came straight to me and with a very beautiful smile and a happy face, he said, did Kalyani Sundaram call you? So he is already very asking me in such a happy way. I said, yes, Swami. Did she tell you that you should join the Education in Human Values program? So here was my opening. And I said, yes, Swami, she had called yesterday night, Swami. So my next sentence was going to be that I cannot serve Swami. So he said, I told Kalyani just today in the morning, I don't think she has had time to tell you, but I know you have college. You cannot go from Monday through Friday to all these training programs. I know that, Bangaru. You cannot miss your school and college and all those things. And you have exams and you have to go. So I have told her only to take you on in the summer holidays when you don't have school in the summer holidays, and also for refresher programs where they do it on the weekends. Only for those you start doing, because I know it's. So even before I could give my excuse to Swami, he had already taken away the excuse. I had no courage to say, I don't want to do it. So what else can I say? He gave me vibhuti. He said, you prepare yourself well. I said, Swami, these are all older government schools. That is the thing. Young people who are enthusiastic, when they speak to the older people, even older people will start examining their lives. See, just like you teach your group 4 children. And at that time, as I had said earlier, I had started my Balvikas. I had been teaching for 3-4 years. And since I had no assistants, no teachers, I had 45 children, mixed class from age of 5.5 to 16. So I had a mixed class. So very early, I started to use my group 3 and group 4 children to become mentors of the younger children. So each one teach one kind of a thing, but each one became the sister or brother of the younger ones. So they would be with the children all the time. So I got so many group 3 and group 4 assistants actually, and they enjoyed it very much because they would actually try to practice with the children what they were learning in their own classes, in their own group 3 and group 4. There was no curriculum or anything. Whatever Swami told us, we made up. So he said. So in the meantime, this curriculum was being made in 1970-71, and Swami started to prepare a curriculum for the SSC Balvikas program for devotee children in the Sai centers, where Swami's name would be used, and a different curriculum which was, the spirit is the same, but the way it is expressed is different, an education in human values program for the non-devotee teachers. So for this, he then made me, he said, from tomorrow onwards, you start coming to Vrindavan after school in the evenings, after you finish all your work, and Professor Gokak will be here, Shanta Divakar will be there, another lady, Vimala Sheshadri, they will all be here. We will be making the curriculum, you start writing down for them. So he called Shanta Divakar and Shri Gokak and said she will be. So from that day onwards, just before the Education in Human Values program started, I became the scribe. Swami, for a period of about 8 months, used to call me Ganeshi. Hey Ganeshi, he would say, go inside, because I became the scribe for this divine vision of the Balvikas program that Swami had. What a beautiful vision Swami had. He wanted the world to have young Vivekanandas, young Mother Teresas, young Mandelas and young Gandhijis and young Ramakrishna Paramahamsas growing all over the world. But at that time it was still India, still the state of Karnataka, which then spread. Maharashtra took over, and under the very able leadership of Mrs Sarla Shah and Indulal Shah, the program started to blossom. And Swami had such beautiful visions. He would say that each child will become like an ornament that is made from this gold. You get the children in the form of a gold nugget with all the little deficiencies and other alloys and everything mixed in. And you, the teachers, will become the goldsmith, the sculptor. The responsibility of the future of this world will lie on the shoulders of these gurus. What a noble idea and what a noble job Swami gave to us, the gurus, at that time. So I became the scribe and I wrote down every word. Swami would sit on the floor of the Vrindavan room, on the floor with all the papers spread around him, and Sri Gokak and Shanta Aunty would sit there. I would sit to the right of Swami, and Swami would say, and every now and then he would comment how horrible my handwriting was. He would say, don't show your handwriting to those Balvikas children. They will also scribble like you. Write properly. So, in every aspect, Swami expected us to improve ourselves. So the Balvikas program became a program for the teachers themselves to become students. While they corrected themselves, while they improved themselves, while they prepared themselves, and then they went and taught the children. And obviously, practicing what they were teaching was most important. So that is the story I started to tell here. So I was put into this education in human values program. And I came home that day from Vrindavan, not at all happy that Swami had not given me a chance to get out of it. I came home and I grumbled very much to my mother. I don't want to. My biggest complaint was that I did not want to be with a group of old ladies. So all the other teachers in this education in human values program were all teachers who had been doing Balvikas. They were all married ladies, housewives, much older than me. I was a young teenager with no interest to be talking to all the old aunties. Now I'm a part of the old auntie group. But at that time, I too, I'm sure your young adults and your group 3, your group 4 will also make such remarks about you, some of the teachers who may be slightly older. Same thing that I did. I didn't want to be a part of this old gang, as I called them. There, but I didn't have a choice. The training began and we started to go all over the state of Karnataka. Whenever I had holidays, that was, I joined them and I was given topics that I had to prepare and give talks. In the meantime, one particular training program was in a place called Tumkur near Bangalore. It's about 100 kilometers from Bangalore. So we had started this program. I had started to go, whether I liked it or not. And this particular, and usually when we went for the program in the summer, we used to stay in that place for 5 days and train these teachers. I must tell you, many of you may be thinking, oh, how can we teach these children? They are not cooperative. How can I can tell you my experience of these people, these teachers who came. They did not want to be in this training program. They were government school teachers. They were asked to do, this was a mandatory program. They were asked to do it by the state of Karnataka, the education ministry. So they had to do it. They were least bothered about spiritual education. And more so, there were many men in this group. They did not want to be taught by a group of people, especially when they saw me. They were even more skeptical because I was a young girl. So we had the first day of the training was the most difficult. So Swami, before we started the program, gave us some beautiful advice. He said, when you go to this training program, first and foremost, you will be faced with negativity. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. So you have to make it most interesting to them. You have to talk to them in the most friendly way possible. In the first 1 hour, don't worry about what you're teaching them. First, get to know them. Get to know them, chat with them, ask them. They will all grumble. They will say, we did not want to come. The only reason we are here is we are getting out of our classrooms, away from those children. We are getting a break. For 5 days, no children. So we have come here and we are being paid for these 5 days. So we are sitting here. We don't want to hear anything they will say. Then you start the discussion. Swami gave all the instructions. So this was going on. And after the first few, we got better at it. And we were doing this program. So there was a program in a place called Tumkur, which was 100 kilometers from Bangalore. Now, this particular place, we could go in the morning and come back in the evening. We need not stay there because it was not far. There were plenty of buses going from the city of Bangalore. So all of us decided that we did not want to stay there, and especially the other ladies who were housewives, they all wanted to come home since it was possible. So we went on the first day from morning, the program, 10 to 4, 10 to 5, I think, or 4:30, something like that. First day we all went. I also went with these ladies. Now the important thing that Swami did was, when he talked to Kalyani Sundaram aunty who was in charge, he said to her, when you go out of station and when you take Geetha, when you're going out of the city of Bangalore, you must chaperone her. She's a young girl. She should not be traveling anywhere by herself, alone, coming and going and all that. You teachers, all of you are much older, married ladies. You look after her, Swami too. Now, this became the biggest problem of my life because these ladies would shadow me wherever I went. If I wanted to use the restroom, they were there with me. No, Swami, I said, don't go anywhere by yourself. This is some strange place, some strange venue. We will come with you. If I want to go somewhere outside for a few minutes, my talk is over, they would accompany me. So they would be constantly shadowing me. And in this way, Monday we went to Tumkur and it was a boys' college. And we did our first day program. It went off quite well. The teachers were quite good, except there was one teacher who would point to me. I didn't have any talk on the first day and said, do we have to listen to you also? You are younger than my daughter. What do you have to teach me? And such remarks. But we were used to that. So I finished the first day and I came home. The next day, I felt that I didn't want to go with these teachers. My talk was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had to go at 8 in the morning in this bus with these teachers, according to me, who were extremely boring. They would talk about their husbands, their mother-in-law, their children, their children's homework. And I didn't want to go. I can't even read a novel in the bus because then they will see me reading novels. I wanted to have a good front. So I didn't want to go. So what I did at 7 o'clock in the morning, forgetting that our dear Lord is watching every thought, every word, every action, I forgot that. I said bye to my mother. And instead of going to the bus stop where we were all supposed to meet to take that 8 o'clock bus to be reaching there at 9:30 in this place called Tumkur, 9:30 or 10. The program started at 10:30. I did not go there. I told my mother bye and I went to my friend's house, my best friend's house. And happily, they were making dosa. I ate dosa. My friend said, hey, don't you have to go to Tumkur today? I said, I don't want to go with these old ladies. I said, they are all the time talking. They are so boring. And their lessons are also boring. They say the same thing over and over again. Their expressions are so boring. I didn't want to go with them. I don't need to be there till 2 o'clock. If I leave around 11:30 and take that 11:30 bus or something like that, I'll be reaching there by 1:30. My talk is there too. So I'll spend some time in your house and go. Does your mother know? No cell phones in those days. I said, no, I just said bye to her. She thinks I'm going with this because these people are chaperoning me so much. So I didn't want to tell her. So I happily spent with my friend till 10:30, from 7:30 to 10:30, 10:45. Then I went to the bus stand, got into the bus at 11:30. Very, very comfortable that I will reach there by about 1:15 or so. And I'll be in time, 45 minutes early. Punctuality is very important. Swami says you have to give, when you give a time, you have to start at that time. I said I'll be there. And Kalyani auntie, she was the wife of a colonel in the army. So her clock was very different from all of us. It would be set to some clock which only she knew. If we were even 1 minute late, we would be in trouble. So anyway, I got into the bus. The bus went a few miles, few kilometers, and some funny sound came. The bus broke down. Now in this bus, in those days, in the early 70s of Bangalore that I grew up, not such a huge cosmopolitan city that it is now, young girls, 17, 18, did not get into rural buses by themselves without any elders with them. And I was a small built, I was only 17 years old. I had gotten and the whole bus was filled with only men, all rural. It was a rural bus and all rural men in there. And some goats and sheep also in the bus. I got in there, everybody was looking at me. This was a strange sight in those days. The bus went for a few kilometers. Suddenly some strange noises came. The bus broke down and it stopped after about 20-25 kilometers maybe. So then the bus driver fiddled with the engine, this and that. Then he told us all to get out of the bus. He went a few more kilometers, it seemed to go. Again it stopped. He told us all to get down from the bus. He has to open something. He has to. So we all got out and we were near a tea stall, roadside tea stall. So everybody was buying some tea or coffee. I also went and bought some tea. And while I was there, I was a little uncomfortable because it was all just men. I was just a young girl by themselves. I got tea and I was thinking of what Swami had said, don't go anywhere by yourself. I had happily disobeyed Swami's words. And not only that, I had told a white lie, so to speak, to my mother. I had said bye to her, giving her the impression that I am going. And I was drinking tea when I heard 2 or 3 of the men, older men, standing and talking. Look at what the world has come to these days. This is an old traditional time. These girls, I don't know what kind of parents are bringing up these children these days. They are doing whatever they want. There is no morality anymore. This girl is traveling like this by herself. Nobody to ask, nobody to accompany her. Look at these parents. What type of parents? I overheard this. I felt very bad. My parents were wonderful people. They had brought us, my brother and I, very well. And we had grown under the umbrella and protection and the philosophy and the spiritual guidance of Swami. And I had in one decision of mine given a bad name, because to me, not only my physical parents, Padmanabhan and Kamala were my parents, Swami was everything to me, my mother and my father. So when they put the word parents, Swami fell into that basket and everybody got a bad name. When I heard that, for a split second, I felt very bad. What have I done? I have brought a bad name by doing this, especially in the role of a guru. Then, this is how the mad monkey mind is. I said, oh, who are these villagers? They are village people, illiterate people. They know nothing. What do they know about me? I am a city girl. I am quite accomplished. I am teaching so nicely to 50 Balvikas students every day for the past 3 years. I am going to train the government school teachers. What do they know about me? And I know how to travel in a bus. What are they talking? I need not worry about them. I said, and Swami did say, go with other people. But Swami knows I am quite capable. And Swami is there. See, we kind of make the philosophy to suit us. Whenever we want, we change what Swami says to suit our own way of thinking. So I said, what? Swami is there. After all, he is Antaryami, Sarvantaryami. He is omnipresent, omnipotent. He knows everything. So I converted everything to my own, whatever was convenient for me. And the bus started, and it started, but as the bus was going slowly, I look at my watch and the time is getting closer. Again, the bus broke down. Again, some repair is going on. By this time, the 11:30 bus says it's already 1 o'clock. We've hardly gone 50 kilometers. We have another 50 kilometers. My talk is at 2 o'clock. I know that Swami expects every class that we promise to start on time. And slowly, whatever we all do, when all the time is good and when everything is going well, we think we are doing it. But when things go wrong, we blame God. And I started to say, Swami, what is this, Swami? You told me to go, Swami. Now look at this bus, Swami. It has broken down. Why should I go with these old people when my thing? Then slowly I'm looking at the clock. I'm saying, Sai Ram, please help Swami make this bus start, Swami. So the prayers started slowly with intensity. The bus started and finally it started to move. And I arrived in this Tumkur, in this boys' college at 1:35 in the afternoon or 1:40. My talk is at 2. So it was 2 floors, this huge college building. I ran up the 2 floors to that class where we had done the class yesterday. This is Tuesday. Nobody is there in the class. And I looked around, where did they move? I'm looking around. It was in the summer holidays. So the regular college was not going. This college has been a venue only for this program. And there I see one supervisor standing and they are painting the walls. I said, what happened to the class? This happened yesterday. I came, I'm a part of that program. And he said, oh, that program, it has been moved to another college in the other end of the city because we are painting this venue today. I said, where is that college? Where is that place? They said, oh, it's about 10-15 minutes from here. You have to go from here. I said, is there a way to get there? No, you have to take a cycle rickshaw or an auto rickshaw or something and go. So I came running down. I know that there's hardly 20 minutes for my talk. I know that Sarvantaryami knows that I will be late for my talk, which is an unforgivable thing. So I started to come, and suddenly, this being a rural place, they have not seen young girls coming like this to a boys' college by themselves. There were some rowdy boys on their bikes, and they are just circling around me and making all sorts of comments. And by this time, my Sai Ram, the pitch has gone to some higher level. And I came out, and I'm trying to find an auto to go to this place where this man has told me, and nobody is taking me. They say, we are not coming, it's very far, we are not going to come, you pay me 500 rupees, all sorts of things going on. And at that point is when you have nothing, we surrender, isn't it? So I said, Swami, I'm really sorry. I know you're testing me for not having spoken the truth to my mother, for not coming through with the duty that you had given me and making my own decision, which is some completely different to what you have said. I am really sorry. Please help me. Please help me. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Constant Sai Ram in all pitches is going on. Suddenly one car passes me by. It was a Fiat, and it goes with dark windows. I don't know, some car. I'm asking all the auto people, quite desperate at this point, almost in tears, crying, because these boys are also making all sorts of remarks. And the car goes forward, stops, and comes back. And the window comes down. And who should be in the back seat but Srimati Venkamma Garu, Swami's elder sister. She is sitting. And she brings the window down, calls me and said, aren't you Padmanabhan's daughter? She has seen me from my birth. And I am thinking, oh my gosh, of all the people, why should I meet this lady? She will go and tell Swami I am standing here. And I said, yes, auntie, I came for this program, Education in Human Values program, but they have shifted the venue. I don't know where that college is. I'm trying to get. So she said, Education in Human Values, Swami's program? I said, yes, auntie. She said, you came here by yourself? Where are all the other teachers? I said, no, auntie, they came in the morning. I missed the bus. You see how we change. I missed the bus intentionally, but I didn't use the word intentionally. That's how we make deals with God. We only say what we want. So I said, I missed the bus, auntie. I came in a later bus, and this place has been thing. I have to go there, and I'm almost crying. And she said, okay. She told her son-in-law, you get into the car. We will take you there. And she could see that I was very agitated. They got me some tender coconut over there to drink. And she said, sit down. And then in the car, she said, who isn't Kalyani Sundaram the head for this thing? I said, yes, auntie. She said, I am going to tell Swami, what is this lady Kalyani Sundaram doing, leaving you like this and going, a young girl like this and going with all the teachers by themselves? This is not the way to do. You young people should go with older people. I'm like, no, auntie. She always takes me wherever she goes. They even come to the bathroom behind me. But I missed the bus, auntie. They had to leave at 10 to make it for the program. They had to leave at the 8 o'clock bus. I missed the bus, so I'm late. That's all. She always takes me, auntie. No need to tell Swami I'm saying. So she said, no, but this is very disorganized and all that she said. And they took me there. And as we arrived, there's 10 minutes left. And poor Kalyani auntie, she's standing outside thinking, where is this girl? Somebody has to speak on ahimsa. That too, my topic was ahimsa, non-violence. After giving so much of violent difficulty, so many people, I had to speak on ahimsa. And in the car, very quietly, I said, thank you, auntie, for dropping me. How come you're here, auntie, in Tumkur? Because why is this Venkamma auntie, Swami's sister? She is either in Puttaparthi or in Vrindavan. Why has she come to Tumkur? Now she has caught me like this in front. That too, she's asking me, why are you standing in front of a boys' college? That too. So I said, auntie, why are you? She said, no, we were going to a place called Shimoga. I got a terrible headache. So we took a detour to buy some aspirin for my headache, you know. So when we came, we saw you standing like this, and that too in front of a boys' college you're standing. That is, see, this is what is called community upbringing of the children. Everybody felt responsible for everybody's children. They had so much love in their heart. She did not think, okay, she's somewhere, she's standing, Padmanabhan's daughter, and move on. She need not have stopped, but she made her son-in-law stop the car. Then she got, and the car stopped, and Kalyani auntie sees Venkama auntie here. Oh, Sai Ram, she says, and she says, why have you left this girl? She says, no, she missed the bus, something happened, and in the meantime, she doesn't want to talk. She caught my hand, and in Tamil, she said, Vadi, time aachi, come on, time is up, she has to talk. She didn't even talk to them. I just said, goodbye, thank you very much. When she put me on the stage, it was exactly 2 o'clock. I had to deliver my Ahimsa talk. How hypocritical. After giving so many people the talk. Anyway, I was very happy. I gave my talk. Everybody gave me a standing ovation because they couldn't believe 17-year-old girl is talking all these 180 government school teachers, men and women. Finished. On the way back, Kalyani auntie said, Yanna, Chida, what happened to you? Why didn't you come? I was having a heart attack. Nobody else was given this topic. I said, I'm so sorry, auntie. I missed the bus. She said, oh, I know, because I called from the pay phone to your mother. She told me you have already left the house. We had to take the bus. We can't skip Swami's work. But at the same time, we were so scared that something had happened to you because your mother said you have left the house and you didn't come. We were praying that you were okay. We prayed so much that some accident happened. So you can imagine my mind. These poor ladies with whom I did not want to be, they had been praying for my safety. Anyway, we came back to Bangalore. Swami was in Parthi. He had gone there for Guru Purnima. He came back after Guru Purnima. 2 months later, after all this program, our normal thing was, we would always go and tell Swami what are all the programs we had done when Swami was in Parthi. So Kalyani auntie said, everybody come on Sunday, all the teachers, we will give Swami all the report of what we have done. We had by that time done 5 or 6 programs. We will give the report. And sometimes Swami would be very kind. He would call us inside and talk to all the teachers. He would give us guidance, how to teach, what to teach, what stories to tell. So we were hoping Swami will come. So we are all sitting in a line according to the hierarchy, Kalyani auntie, the next older teacher. So I am the last person in the pecking order. I am sitting, youngest one. Swami came, gave Padnamskar, said very good, looked at her, came to me and stood in front of me. I am very confident. This happened 3 months ago. I myself have forgotten. Forgetting that Swami doesn't forget anything. He stood in front of me and said, Tumkur etlundindi. How was Tumkur? By that time, they have given programs in Hubli, Dharwad, Bangalore. He is not bringing that up. How was Tumkur? So I say, it was good, Swami program. 180 teachers came. 180 teachers. So shall I tell these ladies how boring they are? They talk about their husbands. They talk about their children. How boring they are. How nice the masala dosa in your friend's house. Shall I tell these ladies? No, then Sarvantariyami Swami, he knows what I am doing. I said, no, Swami, please don't tell Swami. They have a good opinion of me. I don't want to ruin that, Swami. Please don't. Now imagine this. These ladies are sitting next to me. Swami is conversing with me, but they cannot hear what he is saying. They know he is talking to me. She's sitting right next to me, one lady. She cannot hear. She's trying her best to hear, but she cannot hear. Swami is talking to me, but shall I tell them? Shall I tell them? Swami, please, Swami, I won't do that again, Swami. I will go with these ladies. Very boring ladies. Older ladies, no? Very boring. I told you to go with them. And then he said, Sai Ram, help me, Sai Ram. High pitch Sai Ram, you wanted me to help you? I felt very sorry for you. That's why the poor Venkamma, she never had a headache in her life. I had to give her a terrible headache to come and rescue you over there in front of that boys' college with all those rowdy boys in the bicycle saying all sorts of things to you. You went like, why do you think I told you to go? It is not enough to be a guru. You have to practice the things that you tell the children, how to be safe, how to behave properly, how to go to what place to go, what time to go. These are all some of the things we have to teach the children. If you yourself are not practicing it, how are you going to teach? I'm going to tell Venkamma why she got headache. No, Swami, please don't tell Swami. Then he said, see, when I tell you to practice what I say, practice it. Only when you practice can you teach, can you become a better guru. He said, and then gave some flowers that the other teachers had given, and then gave me a smack on my cheek and said, from now on, remember, wherever you gurus are, I am there with you all the time, behind you, besides you, helping you. But you also have to take the responsibility to do your duty correctly. So this lesson I really learned in so many levels. I cannot just teach without practicing myself what I teach the children. Swami is always with us to help each and every one of us. But we have to put in our effort. And he knows what we are doing. The good things that we are doing also. There are many occasions when Swami, he has told me, you told that story very nicely to the children, Bangaru. Next time, ask them more questions. So this is the way he guided. And through this experiences, this particular experience especially, I really learned what it was to take on the job of this noble job that Swami has given as a SSC teacher. So this was my early stages of my SSC. So Swami used to give a lot of guidance. He used to say, how should the teachers be? They should be like an alarm clock. You have to wake your children up from the ignorance, from the sleep of ignorance, to become desirous of Atma Vidya. That Vidya, once you have it, you have everything else in this world. If you have that Vidya. So you have to be like an alarm clock. And of course, you all know, I'm sure, the wonderful example of watch he gives. You have to teach the children to watch their words. But is it enough to teach the children? You have to watch your words. You have to watch your thoughts. You have to watch your actions. So you know that quotation. I'm sure you use it many times in your class. So whatever we tell the children, it has to be practiced by us first. So that was the first lesson. Be an alarm clock. The second lesson, he said, of course, that you have to prepare for your class. Don't just walk into the class as though just because they are small children. Don't walk in, because children are very, very observant. They watch everything about you, the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you speak, what you're saying. They listen, especially the younger ones. They listen and watch you. So go prepared. Even if you have taught for 25 years, go prepared. Think about what you want to say. And if you are going to speak about a particular topic next week, see if those are some of the weaknesses that you have. Try to practice in that week. Not that you will be perfect, but you have to keep thinking, I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect so that I can make my children perfect. So whatever you say, you become. Whatever your thoughts. One of the beautiful quotes, I'm sure many of you may have heard from many discourses from Swami, which has never left my mind. Swami told me in one occasion, he said, sow a seed of thought, reap a fruit of action. Sow a seed of action, reap a fruit of habit. Sow a seed of habit, reap a fruit of character. Sow a seed of character, reap a fruit of destiny. Imagine that. Your character will give you your destiny. And where does that start? With the thought. With the thought. So sow a seed of thought and it becomes a fruit of action. So your thought becomes an action. Whatever action that you keep on doing repeatedly, that will become a habit. In fact, Swami had even told my sons once, bit by bit, it becomes a habit. That's why it's called a habit. It happens. Bit by bit, it happens. It becomes a habit. Sow a seed of a good habit, you will reap a fruit of character. And if you sow a seed of good character, your destiny will be the fruit. The fruit of this good character will be. So whatever you want to be, even in the secular world, this is what he said you have to tell the children. You want to become a best doctor, you want to become a best teacher or a journalist, whatever it is, first you have to develop the thoughts, the actions, the hard work, the good habits, the discipline. This you have to do. So the second thing that Swami said, prepare for your class. Then the third thing he said, these are all individual sadhana. So first and foremost, he is saying how we must first become teachers, how we must become gurus. Swami doesn't even use the word teacher. He uses the word guru, one who removes ignorance. So he said, prepare yourself. What is the next thing? Learn to sacrifice first. Develop the qualities of sacrifice. Tyaga bhavam. What do the teachers have to sacrifice, Swami? I asked. What do you have to sacrifice? You just have to go and you have to sacrifice your time that you may want to spend. In my case, I wanted to be with my friends. You have to sacrifice your own personal time to give to someone else. You have to sacrifice your own time to read this and do that and watch a movie or whatever it is. You have to sacrifice that to do something else for someone else. So develop Tyaga Bhava. That is second one, so that you can give yourself. There is nothing greater than giving yourself. I've written down here, I'm looking at it. This is all written down in 1973, 1974, brothers and sisters. So I myself am trying to decipher my own scribbling, which Swami called it very bad, bad handwriting. So he said, you have to give yourself. Giving up of yourself is the greatest gift that you can give to your children. That is the next thing. Then he said that you have to be disciplined. First, you yourself have to be disciplined. How are you going to prepare your class? And then one of the most important things he said is, how are you going to dress up for your class? Can you imagine this? I was 15 years old when I told Swami, Swami, nobody will listen to me, Swami. They are all my friends. He said, it depends on how you dress. Look at me. If I came out for my discourse wearing crumpled clothes, my hair all over the place, do you think people will listen to me in such a quiet way when I give my discourse? They will see how I am, in what way I present myself, how I walk. When I walk quietly, when I stand in a nice way and speak firmly, automatically people will quiet down and they will listen. So, first and foremost, how you look, are you dressed appropriately to present yourself to the children? That is one thing. Are you prepared properly to present the lesson to the children? Thirdly, the most important thing Swami said, the most important thing that every teacher needs is she must love her children. She must love her children. She must love to do that. Don't do it because I have brought my child to Balvikas. What shall I do for 2 hours waiting outside? It's so boring. So let me also become a teacher, just like that. Just, to spend my time. No, you must love the children. You must want to change yourself and the child. So love the children. And then the fourth thing that he said, try to practice as much as possible whatever you are going to tell the children. Whatever you are going to tell the children, practice that. If you tell the children the class starts at 3:30, you should be there at 3:15. And the place should look perfect for the children when they come in. It should be a happy place where they enter. So that is the other thing. So be prepared, be punctual, be early for you. These are all very basic things I'm sure all of you know. but this is a refresher program that you're doing for the whole country. So I thought we should go back to the basics. Swami's vision of what is Balvikas. Sometimes we get very complicated. What topic to choose, what story to tell, what bhajan to sing, what life application. We talk about all these things. But the basic things are these. Teacher must have a sacrificing nature. Teacher must have love in her heart. She must love the children. She must prepare herself. She must practice. I'm saying herself because I'm a woman. I'm sure there are many brothers also. Practice himself what he is going to tell. Swami, I'm sure you have all heard in many discourses has told the story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, where when a mother came and asked him, please tell my child not to eat sweets. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, come back after 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, he told the child, don't eat sweets. It's not good for your health. And the child stopped. So the mother said, why didn't you tell 2 weeks ago? At least 2 weeks. This child has been eating so many sweets. 2 weeks back itself, the child would have stopped. But Sri Ramakrishna said, no, I myself have a sweet tooth. I had to practice for 2 weeks not to eat so many sweets before I could tell the child. This is the beautiful story Swami has said. So try to practice as much as possible. Then the other important thing that he said was, know your child. If you have to prepare a lesson, you must get to know the children in your class. There should be a sannihita sambandham, Swami said. You have to have a close and lovely relationship with each and every child in your class. You may have 20 children, 25 children. Take the time to get to know your child. When you get to know the children in your class, then you will know how to prepare the lessons. There may be one child who is very curious. They'll ask hundreds of questions. There may be one child who is very bored. So you have to think how you can bring your lesson plan together to answer the questions and make this child interested. So prepare yourself. Get to know your child. Get to know your child. Then only you can prepare your lesson plan. So the other thing that he said is, not only get to know your child, get to know the child's family, the parents. Don't interfere in their personal life, but get to know who these parents are. Who are they? How is the child growing up at home? What is it that sometimes that I say the child doesn't understand or doesn't want to listen? Why is that? Get to know the parents. So the triangle, parent, child and teacher has to work together. Swami put his fingers like that and see when they work together, it becomes a heart. You can make a beautiful heart, a loving heart when all three work together. So get to know your child, get to know the parents, and then do your own individual sadhana of love, of sacrifice, of being prepared, of whatever you want to teach the children. And beyond all this, put maximum effort into it. And do it because you want to please Swami, not anybody else. Don't get involved. Teachers have to have unity and love. When you have purity, you will have unity. These are all Swami's words, which he gave in 1973 actually to me in the interview room while writing down. And then later on in his many discourses also he has said. So develop purity. If you have purity, you will have unity. If all the teachers in the class have purity, why will there not be unity? You will all have loving thought. So work together with other teachers. So that was the other thing that he said, that teachers, when you work together, you can create a beautiful product, a beautiful child you can create. So for this, Swami gave a lovely example. He said the teachers have to be like guideposts. You know, the mile guideposts that we see when we are traveling. It is very steady and it will point the direction in which the city is. It will show. It is, but that guidepost has to be steady always. If it is moving here and there in the wind, if the city is to the right, it may show to the left side because it moved in the wind. So teachers have to develop faith, have to develop devotion, and then only they can become guideposts. So don't keep on getting vacillated and moving like a guidepost which has no post, but just shaking in the wind. but be steady in your faith and devotion so that you can teach the children what is faith and what is. If you yourself have lots of doubt, can I do this? I don't think I can do it. Oh, they gave me, Swamis, these are all Swamis words again. Oh, this teacher they have put with me to work with, like I said about those ladies. Oh, I have to go with these ladies. Who wants to work with this lady? Who wants to work with that lady? I want to just do the class by myself. If you yourself have such thoughts, how can you teach unity to the children? You cannot. So learn to be loving to each other as teachers and learn to be united. Learn to have pure thoughts. When you do all this, Swami said, I'm always behind you with 2 hands of Abhayasta. 2 hands. I have written down in my notes, 2 hands. Always blessing you because you have taken the responsibility of the future, beautiful, calm and loving world that you are giving these values to these children. So you have to, so that is what Swami, don't get, the other thing that Swami said was, don't get involved in all sorts of center and this person's politics. No, you are here to blossom the child. That is why he said, I call it Vikas. You are going to make the child bloom like a beautiful lotus so that it can give out its beauty to the whole world. So just be involved in what you are doing. Work with everybody lovingly and be a guidepost. When you do that, then you have faith and devotion and you work hard for me. I'm always behind you with both my hands. And then he said, it will take time. Slow and steadily when you work, the result of your efforts will come down the road. So I'm sure, sisters and brothers, as I come close to my talk, I'm going to give you one last story of mine where it took a long time to see the fruit of the action of all this advice that Swami has given. Not to say that I have become an expert. Swami gave a beautiful story to my sons when he did their pledge ceremony in the interview room. He said, do you know Arun and Varun? When Bharata in the Ramayana, Sri Rama's brother, when he went and he brought the Padukas and he put it as a representative of Sri Rama and started to rule the kingdom, all that he did is every day when he got up in the morning, he would say, oh my brother Rama, please help me to rule this kingdom of yours with dharma, with righteousness like you would have. And he would constantly ask himself, what would Rama want? What would Rama do? What would Rama say? He would, for every single action, every single thought and word, he would say, what would Rama do in this case? What would Rama say in this case? What would Rama try to do in such a circumstance? And he kept thinking of him so much that slowly, 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 his face started to look like Rama. His features started to change. And he started to become more and more like Rama, even in his physical features. So that later on, when Hanuman came looking for Bharata, he got very confused. He looked at him and said, oh my, you look like Rama, but I left Rama there, he's still coming. And then he said, no, I am not Rama, I am Bharata. How did Bharata become? So constantly, Swami said, say to yourself, I can do this. Swami is with me. I can do this. I can love my children. These are Swami's children. I can love them. Swami is with me. And if you keep saying that, Swami will give you the thoughts, the words and the actions to do it. So, in the 4 minutes that I have, I'm going to tell you this story, which is very close to my heart because it is of my Balvikas student. Some of you may have heard when I came to Australia. I don't know if I'm repeating myself. I do apologize. But still, since this is a refresher program, we have to refresh our memories. So I had a little student in my class. He was the son of a maid next to my house. My neighbor's maid. She was the neighbor's maid. She used to come and do the housework. She had a little boy called Srinivasa. He He was only 5 years old, not really ready for one because no education, didn't go to school, nothing. They were very, very poor. And he was very naughty. So whenever the maid used to bring him to work in the house, the lady of the house, my neighbor, used to get very upset because he's getting into everything in the house. He's breaking this, he's breaking that, taking out this, taking out that. She told the maid, you don't bring your son with you because he's too naughty. So that lady didn't know what to do. She needed the job. So she came to my mother's house where I was conducting my Balvikas classes. And she said, Mother, can I leave my boy here in the class? I used to, by that time, the classes had been slipped. My 40 students had become 100. I was the only teacher. So I used to do group 1 one day, group 2 one day, group 3 one day, group 4. So every day there was an SSC class. So she used to come to work. So she says, can I leave my Srinivasa in your class, Amma? Because he's giving me a lot of trouble. Can you listen at least some stories and all that? You're telling. She was herself not an educated lady. I said, sure, you said. So this little naughty fellow came and sat in my class. I think in 76, 77, something in that time frame. He came. And then, he would say, he would see the prasad, that we used to hand over after the class to the children. My mother used to make some nice things, goodies to give the children before they left. He came and sat there and said, when can I eat that? I said, after the class is over. So every 2 minutes, he would ask me, Akka in Kannada is sister. Sister, can I eat it now? No, after the class. Then again 2 minutes, is the class over? Is the class over? So this is how he started my class, most naughty fellow. But mainly he sat there because at the end of the class, he will get a sweet or a fruit or something. So it went on. He came for about a year or so. He was very, very bright fellow. He loved the bhajans and everything. So he started to learn all the bhajans and the devotional songs and the prayers and would listen with curiosity to all the stories. Every now and then he would interrupt and say, can I have the sweet now? No, class. After Mangalarti, after Arati, you can. Then every now and then he will point to Swami's photo. He says, is he God? Because we used to put flowers around Swami. I would say, yes, we believe that he is God. Oh, but he's in a photograph. Does he walk and talk and everything? I say, yes, he's a walking, talking God. When he comes to our house, I'll call you. You can come and see him. So like this, 1 year went by, this Srinivasa and him and the walking, talking God and the prasad was continuing. One day, Swami was going to come to our house for dinner again. Swami used to come very regularly to our house for dinner. Every other month he used to come, and I was very fortunate. I used to make all the SSC children sit in the garage of my parents. And Swami, as soon as he came and sat, he would say, where are your children? And I would say they're sitting, and he would come and bless each and every child and give them vibhuti. And he would say, you feed the children and send them, because it would be in the evening. And they were all young children. So he would say, you send them home. So my mother used to feed those children in the garage and they would leave. So anyway, that one particular time I told the children, Swami is coming on Saturday. All of you come at 6 o'clock and sit down. I don't know what time Swami will come. Tell your parents and come. And you can all have Swami's darshan. Other children knew about this. This boy was in 7th heaven, jumping up and down. He was 6 years old now. He was like, Auntie, I want to see Swami. Walking, talking God. So I will come, I will come. And I had told his mother also, send this boy, next door neighbor, when she came to work. On that particular day, it was a Saturday, the mother wanted to go and to the movies. And she locked him up in the hut and said, you can't go, because they will ask why I didn't come for work. You stay in the hut. And she went. This little boy was so agitated. He broke the windows of that hut. He came. He sat there. I saw him. I didn't know he has broken and come and all that thing. He sat there. But Swami came around 7 o'clock. By that time, it started to get dark. So he went away. I think I was inside helping my mother. I didn't know. Swami came at 7 o'clock. As soon as he came, he said, where are the children in the garage? He came. All of them sitting down. And as he started to walk and give Padnamaskar to the children, where is Srinivasa? Yes. The first time this boy was going to see Swami. I said, he was here, Swami. I looked here, I looked there. No Srinivasa. I asked the children. They said, Auntie, he was sitting here, but he ran off. Swami said, come inside. And he took me into one of the bedrooms into the rooms there, right outside of the garage, right next to the garage. And he said, where were you when all the children were sitting? Swami, I was helping Amma inside. Swami, they were all sitting here. He said, you are a Balvikas Guru. When you ask your children to come somewhere, they are your responsibility. You should not go inside to have fun with the relatives, getting all the things excited, arranging for Swami's arrival, leaving the children for themselves. He's 6 years old. He's gone away somewhere. You didn't even know. That is not the responsibility of a teacher, is to be with the children at all times. He said, I'm really sorry, Swami. Where did he go, Swami? Still small boy, 6 years old. Where did he go? Where did he go? He said, don't worry. I have seen him. They will come. Don't worry, he said. Next time, remember, when you bring children anywhere as a Balvikas Guru, you're a Guru first. Then only other responsibilities, he said. Went back inside. And he's talking there. And suddenly, after about 10 minutes, the bell rings. And this lady, the mother, and this child are standing there. And Swami smilingly looks at my father and says, Padmana, tell everybody what happened. So my father said, when we were coming home, there was one lady walking on the street. Swami asked me to stop the car, and he told that lady, you better go home, your hut has caught fire. And the lady said, oh my God, I locked up my son in the hut. And she could recognize Swami's picture, and she recognized my father there. I locked my child. Swami said, your child is okay, you go. So she ran to the hut. But luckily, this boy had broken the window and he had come to our house, and he wasn't burnt inside the hut. The hut was completely burnt. But this lady didn't know. She ran and she ran. And by that time, she saw her son there and she hugged him and she said, oh, that Sathya Sai Baba said that you were fine because you broke. She said, yes, Amma, I broke the window and I went because I wanted to see that walking, talking God. They said they will give me very good food after I see him. So I went there. So immediately that mother and son has come. They rang the bell. Swami got up in our house from his chair and he went to the door and said, see, he touched the boy on his cheek, pinched his cheek and said, I know your name is Srinivasa. Yes, yes. He's small fellow, 6 years, 7 years old. He said, be a good boy, go to school and study hard. Swami said, materialize some vibhuti, gave it to him. I think I'm going to go 5 minutes more. I apologize for that. So he gave the vibhuti. That was the story in 1976. In 2006, I was in Puttaparthi. This boy came to my Balvikas for a few years. And then after that, he finished his Balvikas, I think group 3. And after that, he left. He was going to school. So far, I know I lost touch with him. 2006, I was in Puttaparthi. Swami came to me. I was in USA by that time. I was married. I had come to US. I had children of my own. 2006, I was sitting in darshan. Swami said, I'm going to Kodaikanal. You come. I said, okay, Swami, I'll go to Bangalore and come. He said, yes, you come in 3 days' time. So I went there. I called in Kodaikanal. All the hotels were booked because Swami were coming. I could not even get train tickets to go there, nor flight tickets, because everybody knew that Swami was coming. So I could not get any tickets. So my mother and I decided we'll go by car. So it's a long drive from Bangalore to Kodaikanal. So we drove to Kodaikanal. And when we reached Kodaikanal, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was crowded. The gates were closed. And it was jam-packed with devotees, all waiting in a line to go inside. My mother and I were at the back of the crowd and we were saying, okay, when they open the door, we'll go in. But we had no accommodation. We had just gone. Swami said, come, it is his command, we'll go. If necessary, we will sleep in the car. So we had gone. And while we were standing there, suddenly we saw one Sevadal running. And he came running and he said, open the gate, open the gate. So the Sevadal people near the gate thought that Swami was going to come in the car. So they opened the gate and this young man with a scarf and everything came running and he stood near the gate and he's looking this side and that side. And then he sees my mother and came running and fell at her feet. We thought this poor boy has, this young man, you know, he was in his 30, maybe, I don't know, about 25, 30 years old. So he stood up. My mother said, stand up. Are you okay? Are you okay? He looked at my feet. He fell at my feet also. Again, we said, stand up, stand up. Are you okay? Why are you falling like this? Then he put his palms together and he looks at my mother and looks at me and says, Amma, have you forgotten me, Akka? Sister, Amma, he's calling my mother. You look the same. You have changed, Akka. But I am Srinivasa. I said, which Srinivasa? He said, I am Srinivasa of that hut, Akka. Have you forgotten my hut? I said, oh my goodness, you are here. What are you doing here? He said, Akka, Swami told me to study hard. So I studied. I became a bank manager in Coimbatore. Now the Tamil Nadu Sevadal came. So I came here, Akka. They gave me the job to be outside Swami's room to bring anything if anybody opens the door and asks. I was standing there. Swami just opened the door and said, your guru has come. She has no accommodation. There is a room inside. Go and bring her, he said. I don't know which guru. I came because he has gone to school also. He didn't know which guru. So I came running out and I saw Amma and you. Swami is talking about you. Please come. And he took out, and Swami, with his infinite kindness, had given us a beautiful room to stay. And this boy cried. He put this boy in charge of us. He said, Amma, can you imagine? In 1976, he talked to me. After that, I just followed whatever you told me in Balvikas and I tried to practice. It is 2006. Today, again, I heard his voice. Again, he spoke to me. Because of you, he said. And I was so happy that this boy had grown up to become a responsible 30-year-old adult, now married, looking after his elderly mother, working very well in a bank. That evening when I went for darshan inside the hall, Swami came up to me and said, Chusava, Nishishani, did you see your little student? Swami, I said, I didn't have any words to say. See how long it takes to bring up a child from that level to this level. So one of the qualities a teacher needs is love and patience. Sai Ram, I apologize for going over my time a little bit. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Wish you all the very best in your refresher program. I hope you will all become the most wonderful gurus for all the children that you are teaching by practicing his message first and then imparting it with love, with devotion and with faith to all the children who come under your wings so that they will be protected by his two hands.
Auntie, we extend our sincere gratitude and heartfelt appreciation on behalf of all the SC teachers for your inspiring talk filled with many lessons, love and divine messages, reinforcing all of us to reflect on Swami's guidelines to teachers and his expectations from us as SC teachers. I'm sure all the teachers in the audience will agree that Auntie has inspired us today to take this mission of Swami to greater heights and become the guru he wants us to be. Auntie, we all wholeheartedly enjoyed your enthusiastic, thought-provoking, and energizing talk, filled with so many gems of wisdom and memorable lessons learned from Swami. We thank our dearest Swami for giving us this precious opportunity to hear from you.